Anthony, what's up, Rachel? I think Jenny's on here too. Just out of curiosity, anybody on this call currently, could you confirm that you can hear me? Thank you. I'm gonna start right at 3 o'clock. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure to respect everybody's time on the call. And create a video that can be referenced easily without having to sift through 30 minutes of material. So we'll get started here in about 30 seconds, and I'm going to dive right in. I've got a list to hit here. I'm going to briefly be exiting the screen. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, what's up, guys? 3 o'clock here. Want to go ahead and get started so that this video can get sort of into the books here. Let me tell you what this video to begin with is not intended to be, is necessarily a comprehensive recitation of all of the details and rules of the Level Up games. Because that information can be found very comprehensively in the Athlete and Judges Handbook, which Leanne totally kicked ass making. And so what you have here is like all the information you could possibly need. If you have a question that isn't answered in the handbook as an athlete or a judge, please, I invite you to reach out to me or Rachel or Leanne. Can all be informative on that subject. What this video is intended to be is to set up a broad overview of many of the movement standards that both athletes and judges need to understand in order to succeed, as well as some sort of methodology framework and some high-level things that need to be covered so that you guys can succeed day of. And part of my goal with this video immediately going forward is to be incredibly productive with the time so that so that everybody can have an opportunity to get all this information processed and then move on with their life, right? Starting out by saying, let's see, I've got a whole list that I'm referencing off to the side. So 7:30 a.m. briefing. What that means is that athletes and judges should be present at 7:30 a.m., at which point, ideally, there are no last minute questions. Of course, there might be. So in that moment, we'll go over any questions that need to be answered and what last minute coordinations will occur. Our target as an organization is to have the podium event by 12:45. Okay, that means that everybody will be able to get on with their day, and that that's really our target. Of course, these things are subject to change. Live events can have snafus and various different things going on, so important to remember that these things do occasionally change. Now here's what happens. There's going to be questions that we will accumulate after this video and throughout the week, both from judges and athletes. I will go in this same format with the Teams link live Friday morning at 7 a.m. addressing every question that I get and that Leanne gets and that Rachel gets. I'm going to ask them to share it, and Jenny and Terry, everybody else that they get. That I'll go over all of those questions on a call on Friday morning. Now, okay, so let's dive into some of this stuff. So first things first, what I wanna really emphasize here is that this is a community event, and while it is competitive and we hope that you take the events very seriously, one of the targets is to have a really great time and appreciate each other. And so I want to introduce sort of the let's see, I'm gonna let the lobby in here. Admit, let's see. I believe that should be everybody. Let's see. So one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is basically what I'm calling the in good faith rule. So listen, athletes are going to find a way. Athletes are going to find a way to compete. Some athletes are going to find a way to win. But What we're really trying to do is make sure that both judges and athletes are always understanding they should be performing in good faith, which means that if a judge is to observe your movement, and there's a few cases with some of these movements where this is impossible, but every time that it is, they're going to give you a warning if they observe a no rep before penalizing you. Now, if they observe the same errors in a second rep, you will receive a no rep from your judge. So you have to perform it improperly twice to receive a no rep. Of course, any that accumulate after that will certainly not receive a warning. However, because athletes are trying to find a way, I think it's really useful to just describe it like this. It's like, yes, you're an athlete, you're trying to look for a way to gain an edge, but yo, don't be an a-hole. And I only say it like that because I know you know exactly what I mean, where it's like everybody's out here doing their best. The judges are volunteers. And as long as you're acting in good faith and doing your best, we're not going to have any malicious judging. No rep, no rep, no rep, no rep, no rep, right? So keep in mind that we're really looking for that in good faith for both judges and athletes. Burpee standards. This is a very simple thing that we wanted to create for us and the event itself. And so I want to talk about the two specific burpee standards that judges are going to be observing in the movement in order to say that it was or wasn't a burpee. Okay, the first thing they're going to be looking for is full body weight contact with the ground. Okay, the second thing they're going to be looking for is going to be the jump at the top. Now, by jump, I'm going to throw the asterisks because we're not really looking for anything any more than toes leave the ground. Like no specifications, right? You don't need to throw your hands over your head or anything else. We're looking for two things. A, the body comes all the way to the floor. And B, toes flash. As you can see, at no point do my hips fully extend. At no point am I required to perform a strict push-up in terms of the full burpee aspect. There is no push-up per se, you just chest rock, right? That's the full body weight release to the floor, and push through your hands and your feet come to your hands and you stand and you jump, no hip flexion required. If you have any questions about those standards, please let me know. Next piece up is how this Anti-Burpees Burpees Club workout is scored for both rounds and reps. So remember, you start with either 10 or 7 reps, depending on your division, and you'll add 2 every time. There's going to be a certain moment where you can no longer complete and therefore start another new round, right? So you know that it will be your last round. You will be out after that. So the strategy is don't tap out, right? Because we're going to give you a score not only for the total amount of rounds you survived, but then also how many burpees you did in addition to the fully completed round. So for example, if you held on to the round of 18, you did not make it all the way to the round of 20, however, you were able to do 10 burpees, your score will give you credit for both the rounds that you completed, you made it to the round of 18, and then the 10 additional burpees you were able to do before the next minute kicks. So that's how the scoring works there. Don't just tap out in the last minute and say, I can't do another round, so I'm done. Right? You're going to go for as many burpees there. Let's see. Okay, we're talking about push and run now. And this is going to be event 2. 2 very simple aspects. It's both the run and the chest press. I'm just pulling this one up specifically here. First thing we need to talk about is the 4 minutes to establish the 5 rep max floor press. These starting lifts that are listed in the athlete handbook, you never have to touch these if you don't want to. Those are just the lightest dumbbells that will be available for you and your division to use in the lift. Okay, so for example, with the yellow, it says females have a set of 15s. That means that there will be no 12s for you to press, right? But that doesn't mean you have to start at the starting lift. For example, if you're a yellow female who wants to start at 250-pound dumbbells, go for it. Nobody's going to stop you. Now, everybody will get a standardized minute to rest after the 4 minutes to establish. So it doesn't matter if you walk out onto the floor, hit your 5 rep max in 1 set or 5 sets. It's going to be over at the 4 minute mark. at which point I'm just letting some folks into the lobby, admit, let's see here. Okay, let me pick up where I left off. What's up, guys? I'm hoping everybody is in here. Got some people are outside, they don't have access. Sorry, I'm just I'm not super familiar with Teams here, so we'll try to make sure I admit everybody in the waiting room. You have that 60 seconds off, and then we're running. Now, I feel like most people know the running course already, but in case you don't, please refer to the athlete handbook. It's just the word circle loop. Exactly where that half-mile run will start and end, meaning like whether it's out in the alleyway over by the stop sign, or whether it's back closer to the Sonesta Suites and Ponds, where we don't know exactly yet. But the good news is you're going to be able to run the same distance regardless, so no problems. Let's see. Run course and starting line to be determined. Okay, starting lift and the minimum lift. Got it. Okay, I have a list off on the whiteboard. I'm making sure I get everything that I thought of in advance. Okay, lockout versus demonstrating clear control. We're now talking about Brentwood total strength. This is perhaps the most complex of the workouts. And so I wanted to demonstrate our ground to overhead, any style. That means snatch or clean and jerk. You have to perform the rep on the right and on the left for it to score for you. So let's say, for example, you tried and you succeeded to do 60 pounds overhead on the right, but failed to match it on the left. That is not your score for the workout. Your score would be 55s, presuming that that's what you hit. And so think about that. It's got to match. Now, we're scoring with the load. And so what we're looking at here is the lockout versus demonstrate clear control. This is something that the judges and I are going to discuss in great detail. So if you're a judge or an athlete and this stresses you out, I don't want it to, because I invite you to book a focus meeting with me and or Rachel, and be able to discuss the details of this. But I want to talk about the ground to overhead versus the shoulder to overhead. These are two different movements, and we're testing them both. It's one ground to overhead, right and left, and 8 shoulder to overheads. Those are segmented. So we're going to be looking for, the judges are going to be looking for at the top of the ground to overhead, a lockout. And a lockout is going to be just like if you've ever seen a lift at the Olympics, where the judge is going to confirm when the athlete has actually moved the bar over their heads. If it's a clean and jerk or a snatch, it doesn't matter. They receive a signal from the judge that says that was a rep. Going to work the same way here. And the way that works is we're going to be looking for a lockout. So I'm going to demonstrate a clean and jerk because it is the best way to hit a heavy load on this movement. Spoiler alert. And so first things first, we have to get that dumbbell off the ground to the shoulder. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be where the lockout has to occur. This will be the middle of the rep. Doesn't matter whether it's a push jerk or whether, push press, or whether it's a push jerk, as long as we lock out the elbow overhead. This is the shape that the judge will be looking for. And while I'm holding this overhead for several seconds, as you can see, you will not be required to do so. In real time, the lift will probably look something like this. Clean. That was a confirmed lift. That was a lockout. Let me show you what is not a lockout. Clean. Basically, what we're looking for is for you to be able to punch the dumbbell overhead, make eye contact with your judge, at which point they give you the confirmation, and then the dumbbell belongs on the floor. Then you go to the other side, presuming that you make it on the other side, score. Now, the catch. When it comes to the clean that's going to occur in the ground to overhead, it's going to be very, very, very heavy for many athletes. And so what we're talking about here is what happens with my second hand. You might have noticed my second hand was sticking out off to the side. Okay? What am I going to be able to do, or what am I not going to be able to do with my second hand in regard to clean? So here's the deal. This is a standard that we included that's basically mostly in reference to your safety. When this dumbbell is incredibly heavy, when you clean it to your shoulder, you might feel compelled to balance it with your other hand in a brief catch. We're going to allow you to do that, but then you have to release lockout, confirmation from the judge, and then you can catch with the other hand again. So what we're really looking for and where we're going to confirm the rep has occurred is not here at the shoulder, not before the lockout or the after, but instead the rep will ultimately be completed in this shape, right? So you are permitted to catch the dunda with your free hand because ideally we're hitting something that actually approximates a PR. Now, how does the lockout differ from the demonstrate clear control standard that we're looking for in the 8 shoulder to overheads, right? Honestly, the shoulder to overhead phase of the clean and jerk, the jerk portion, it looks very similar, right? And so what the judges are going to be looking for is for you to look through your own arms. The standard that we talk about in the gym, right? And so the judges themselves will actually be standing to your side, and you will be doing your 8 shoulder to overheads, which of course you must clean yourself. So starting position. Now all your judges are going to be looking for is for you to look through the fade, look through your arms, look through your arms. In that way, we're demonstrating clear control, all right? And so really looking through the arms and creating, I'm trying to get really close to the camera here so you can basically see what I'm talking about. When I'm in the overhead shape, my face will kind of come through the tricep. This is really what we're looking for here. Now, obviously, if that dumbbell doesn't make it all the way up and we're looking through, like if your dumbbell's here and your head is here, we're going to call the no rep. We need a straight arm at the elbow, but judges are going to be looking for that poke through of the face. Box up. Let me see. I'm going to make sure I'm still on the right thing here. Catching the clean, box and sit-up standards. Okay, so with the sit-ups and the boxes, we want to make these really, really straightforward. Is the box jump itself is going to be 2 feet on the ground, 2 feet on the box. It doesn't matter whether your entire heel makes it or not. It's definitely ideal for your safety and efficiency that your entire foot make it to the top of the box. Your judge is not going to give you a no rep if your heels are floating. They will if you clip your toes, right? 2 feet on the ground, 2 feet on the box, step off the box. Okay, we jump on the box, we step off the box. This is the safety standard. The sit up, I'm going to show you guys the top of the box. Man, it's hard to angle. Okay, but you can see there's a white box on the top of the black box. Okay, we're going to be touching the inside of that white box in order to score a rep at the top. So judge is going to be looking for a couple of different things here. First of all, toes dug in. Question I got was, can your toes hug out or clip out to the outside of this box? You cannot. Toes dug into the front. So they're going to be looking for 2 touches. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. You scoot around on the floor, you're going to have to manage your space there, okay? But those standards we built to be simple on purpose. I think this one is going to be one people basically sprint all the way to the end. Common question is, do we have to have knee or hip extension at the top of the box? You do not. Just like the burpee, I'm not asking for you to fully extend at the top of any reps. That's my entire list. So here's what's up, guys. As you watch this video, as you have questions, please ask them. Ask me, ask Leanne, ask Rachel, ask Terry, ask Jenny. And what I want you to do is stay tuned for a follow-up video that we will do on Friday around 7 a.m. I don't know exactly when yet, but between the 7 and the 8 o'clock break there. And I will be answering all the questions I receive at that time. And then we'll do that again if necessary, multiple times. I'd be happy to get my teams to address as many questions as people have. So holler at me, guys, and thanks for tuning in. See ya.